Simms. I run product management at Yahoo for our Yahoo Open Strategy effort, which spans a lot of what you're going to learn about here this weekend at Hack Day. So thanks very much for coming. What I want to sort of focus on today, the topic of this presentation, is how Hack and also our developer offerings at Yahoo are hitting a pretty big evolution right now. We've had lots of great technology for a while, and you get a chance to play with a lot of it this weekend, whether it's YQL, whether it's pipes, and I'll talk about some of these things as we go through today. But a big change right now is that we are getting a lot of our developer offerings fully integrated with our consumer products at Yahoo. And that's a big change. We're moving from a world where you can take content from Yahoo. You can take Flickr photos, or you can you can play with location data through our geo APIs, or you can mash up RSS feeds through pipes, to one where you can build stuff into the Yahoo consumer experience. And that's not a small thing. When you look at the size of the different audience offerings that are sitting on the platform now. And a lot of this is really new. Within the last month or so, we've relaunched our homepage, we've relaunched Yahoo Mail, we've relaunched Yahoo Messenger, and the type of traffic opportunities that are becoming available through these products to developers, publishers, and marketers is pretty substantial. And we think it's going to have a very large impact on the internet economy in the coming months and in the coming years. Again, Yahoo Messenger, My Yahoo, Yahoo Toolbar, and many other things. And what I'll be running through today is specifically from, we have lots of great technology, but we're moving to a world where really what defines our platform is the audience behind it. It's the ability to get traffic and distribution, which traditionally has been the most expensive and the most difficult part of building a website, of launching a web business. As open source has made things cheaper, and as open platforms have made things easier, still finding audience has been hard and expensive. And a lot of what our platform does is eliminate some of that. So there's two ways to get audience through Yahoo, and I'll talk in detail about each of these today. The first is to build an application, to actually write something new or take a piece of what you already have and deploy it into yahoo.com so that users on Yahoo can find and access this. I'll be going through again in detail the types of opportunities here. The second is to actually syndicate social actions, user-generated content actions that happen on your site into Yahoo. And this is something called Yahoo Updates, and I'll be talking a lot about this as well. A way to take advantage of the things users are already doing on your site and service, let those things get pushed into Yahoo where our users can find them, comment on them themselves, act on them, and get referred back to your website. So let me focus first on the application opportunity, the way to actually build something, deploy it into Yahoo, and get persistent engagement from yahoo.com. First of note is that one platform gets you access to 3 places on Yahoo right now, and this is really new. The Yahoo homepage, which we launched our application platform integration into about 2 weeks ago, so fresh off the press. My Yahoo worldwide, and a destination that's unique to your application, where your app has its own URL and can be indexed and search engines can find it at apps.yahoo.com. There's many more coming soon. Yahoo Toolbar, Yahoo Mail, other things coming online for this one platform to build on it and push your service into each of these top properties. So let's talk about the homepage for a minute. Yahoo's homepage has been in the process of being relaunched over about the last year. And 2 weeks ago, we have now released the platform into it. So even though we've had a bevy of open apps for users to find that were offered from third-party services, we didn't have a self-service way to push those things into Yahoo. For any developer to come in, build an application, and make it available. It had been much more of an editorial process. And so you see here an example of an application by a developer named Snooth, who's built a wine pairings application that a user can now find and access on their Yahoo front page. Or Target has built an application where they can push to users their weekly specials. You can stay in touch with what's going on at target.com, know if there's good deals for you, get access to that right there in your front page experience on Yahoo. Another example is Flickster. This is more your traditional sort of developer, Web 2.0 developer type of opportunity where they've realized that, hey, they've got a great movie service, they're going to make that available here in the Yahoo product. So our users, if they prefer Flickster movies, now can have access to that right there on Yahoo, stay engaged. And you see the application fully opening up, fully interactive. This isn't like an RSS type of widget. It's a fully robust and interactive service that developers have access to. You also see in this one in particular the fact that it's taking advantage of some of the other things we've opened up at Yahoo in the last year, namely our social APIs. So developers can come in, they have access to my profile information. Again, I have to grant them access to that when the app is installed. They have access, again, to the Yahoo Updates system, which I'm going to talk about in a minute. And really the ability to build a very personal application and to push it into Yahoo. And that's what we think is really interesting about the new homepage product. And what's different about Yahoo now as we roll out some of these new services is the combination of a broadcast model, which is kind of the traditional Yahoo.com homepage where you've got interesting articles of the day sort of pushed to you, a place to go and kind of stay in the loop with what's going on in the world at large, and a combination of that with a personalized model that lets you pull in the stuff you care about, your movies provider, a food and wine service that you like, or other things like that right here into your service. So as I mentioned, our platform is self-service. You can go to developer.yahoo.com/YAP, and you can start reading the documentation, learning how to build an application, and fully deploy it. The way the apps work is they're hosted on your server, just like you would host a website, and you can proxy them through into Yahoo. And I'll talk a little bit more in a minute, but it's also standards-based. So what we've built here isn't our own proprietary system. We're leveraging open internet standards and working with the web to help make it easier for you to build apps for Yahoo if you've already built them in other places. And what's great is you don't even have to rely on getting some kind of editorial gate to have your app made available in Yahoo. We have an Add to Yahoo button that lets your app be installed from anywhere on the web. So right now you can go ahead and build an app, promote it on your own website, get users to install it to Yahoo if you want. You can use this entry point to build and test your app if you're here hacking this weekend. And actually go ahead and immediately have your application running on the Yahoo homepage, live in production. And as I mentioned, the platform is fully standards-based. So we're a founding member of the Open Social Foundation with Google and MySpace. Have been contributing heavily there in the standards body. We're currently supporting the 0.8 versions of Open Social, and in the process of also supporting the gadget spec as well. So if you've written a gadget already for Google or other places, you'll be able to bring that into Yahoo. This is a big deal to us, and we contribute heavily through open standards, whether it's Open Social or OAuth, which our applications also support. OpenID, not quite as relevant to the application platform per se, but something that we also are using across our platform offering. So show the user experience a little bit. So when you first roll open an app, and this is an app called Kaching that's been written, it lets you essentially set up a fantasy portfolio and compare your investment actions with people in your address book and friends that you have. So you can see how good of a stock forecaster or prognosticator you might be relative to your friends. So a kind of a fun app that's been written that people can add to their homepage. You open it up into what we call originally the small view, and there you can get a quick snapshot. This is a highly cached version of the application, so it doesn't render a massive server load for you. We handle a lot of that, and it lets the application quickly load right there on the front page when people hover over the anchor link to your app. And then if users interact with the app or click the Show Expanded View, the application can actually open up into what we call our full canvas view. And this is over 700 pixel wide, fully interactive view of the app that lets you, have tabs, let you have interactions, keep the user engaged in your service right there. If you want to use this to drive users to your website, if that's your goal, you absolutely can use the platform for that. If you want to build more of an RSS type of consumption experience, like a traditional, Google Reader or My Yahoo type of experience, that's fine. But if you want to keep users engaged and actually build a service with them in Yahoo, you can do that as well. The platform's flexible enough to let you kind of choose the business model and the implementation that you would prefer. We have an announcement today with Yap that's I'm pretty excited about, especially here at a developer event. We're offering free hosting through Joyent. So Joyent has decided to offer free web hosting for developers who are building on our platform. And you can go to joyent.com/developers/Yahoo to sign up for your account. It comes preloaded with our PHP SDK and also a Python SDK that we've also just recently announced. So if either of those are your development platforms of choice, the Joyent service will be ready to go for you. And there's a lot more to learn about Yap. I'm just touching on the surface more, kind of the opportunities, how Yahoo's changing, how you can take advantage of it from a business perspective. There's a kind of a more product-y overview of the details of the platform going on. It's actually right now building your app on Yahoo, but don't fret, there's 2 other sessions. One is a technical deep dive that's at 2 o'clock. And also at 3 o'clock, we have a number of developers who've already written apps on the platform. And they're going to be talking about their experiences, the things they've learned, the types of best practices that they've already gathered from having worked with us originally through My Yahoo, which again has been live now for some months, and now again in the homepage already. Just with a few weeks worth of data, they've already got some learnings that they're interested to share. So I mentioned developer.yahoo.com/Yap. That's where you jump in on the technical details. But if you want to get more of a business broad-based overview, go to developer.yahoo.com/homepage. From there we have all of our best practices, ways to help your app get distribution, how you can actually participate and get involved in deploying services onto Yahoo. So really excited about this. We think it's really changing what Yahoo is. Yahoo for a long time has been a great editorial product that's given you content, and now it lets you choose the content you want. And as a developer, as a publisher, as a marketer, it lets you have access to this massive audience. And we're excited about that. It's why I come to work every day. Helping everyone get access to an audience that Yahoo's created over 15 years. Build your business, distribute your services, find an audience. And that's what the web's all about, if you listen to Clay Shirky talk earlier. So building into Yahoo is one thing. If you want to distribute your service, you can do that. But maybe you don't want to do that. Maybe you want to just figure out how to keep users who are doing stuff on your site doing that thing and bringing more people back to your site. We have a product that helps with that as well. It's a platform we've built called Yahoo Updates. So Yahoo Updates is a social referral engine. And the way this works, it's an activity stream type use case or a newsfeed type use case. Users do social things. They rate things. They comment on things. They vote on polls. They do all sorts of different social actions all over the web. You can ask users when they do those things now, hey, do you want to share this to Yahoo? And when users do that, they can persistently opt into, yeah, sure. Whenever I comment on an article on your site, why not? Share it into Yahoo. That'll display an update on our sites. I'll talk a little bit more about the footprint of that here in a minute. Which of course then friends of that user, people who are in that user has in their address book, that sort of thing, are going to see that action, and they're going to get referred back to your site. And we think this is relevant for any type of site, marketing activity, publishing activity, whatever you wish. And again, it comes baked into our application platform per the earlier opportunity. But if you're wanting to, again, build this into your site, it's right there. The tools are available for you to use. So let's talk a little bit about the footprint. So after you do something social on a website, the update gets generated into the Yahoo network. And you see an example there. John did something on a publisher's site. Again, he commented, he rated, he voted, whatever it is. That action gets syndicated into these properties, and these are all live in the Yahoo Messenger. The newest version of Yahoo Messenger, I'll actually show details of that in a minute, has this really central to the functionality. The new Yahoo Mail that's in the process of rolling out across Yahoo also has this very central to the functionality. And the front page, one of the apps that we've built on our app platform is an updates app that lets users actually see the updates that are happening from people in their address book, people they care about, right there on the front page of Yahoo. And the platform, in terms of pulling data from it, is also open. So if you want to use us to build your own activity stream type platform and product in your site, you can not only push events in, you can pull events out. So on your own site, that last box on the top right, you can actually showcase the activity that happens on your own site right there. And we think that this is great. It lets developers and publishers choose how they want to leverage us. They can keep users fully on their site. They don't have to send them over to Yahoo, and they get traffic benefit. And for Yahoo, it's great. We get a lot of rich, interesting, again, highly personalized, highly relevant content for our users to pay attention to, when they're doing things like using Yahoo Mail or using Yahoo Messenger, hitting users where they already are, where they're already going every day. And in terms of how to integrate, there are a couple of different ways. As I mentioned, the APIs and platform's open, so you can go to Yahoo Developer Network and get access to all of these services, Yahoo Updates, in addition to the different types of social relationship models we have at Yahoo, whether it's our Contacts API, which is your address book and Messenger kind of combined, or whether it's Social Directory, which includes users' profile and personal information. You can pull all of that information and build that into your application. Again, I mentioned open standards earlier, leveraging OpenID, leveraging OpenSocial, leveraging OAuth as ways to call these APIs. In particular, we have a new hybrid authentication authorization combo you can use. It's an OpenID OAuth combo. And what that means is you can ask a user, hey, do you want to log into my site with your Yahoo email account? And as the user does that, you can, in the same flow, say, and do you want me to have access to your address book records, and me to be able to access your profile information, and me to be able to publish updates on your behalf. So all in one flow. It's literally a two-step pop-up that happens in your own site. You don't have to send users over to yahoo.com for this. You can build login with Yahoo. You can get access to that user's data with their permission, and you can syndicate updates into Yahoo and get traffic back. We think that's pretty powerful. It's pretty easy to integrate. It's all available from us, again, using these open standards. So if you've already used them before with other sites, you know how to do it with Yahoo. And if you want something even easier, we're tightly integrated just over the last couple weeks with a number of leading publisher service providers on the web. So whether if you're a publisher and you're already using Pluck, or you're already using Gigya, or you're already using Discuss, and you've already got that integrated into your site, our services are now part of these offerings. So some of them come by default in the settings. Some of them are things that you as a publisher need to ask your service provider to turn on the Yahoo settings for your instance. But in any case, if you use any of these products already, we're there. So you can get automatic access to the user profile. You can use login through OpenID. You can generate updates out to Yahoo and get them back. So what I'll show you now is actually the changes in the products, like the reason to believe why Yahoo Updates is interesting and the opportunity that it's going to be offering. So first, let me show the new Yahoo Mail. I don't know how many people have seen this. It's just been starting to roll out globally over the last few weeks. It's actually a pretty radical change in terms of the amount of social information you get in there beyond just email access. So the first thing is you log in. Again, it pulls the central profile information that you have with Yahoo, and it lets you update status. So we're not only consuming updates from all over the web, we're encouraging our users to take social actions in products that they maybe traditionally hadn't thought of doing that before, in order to ourselves build social data, social actions into our updates platform. So you can update your status right here in Mail now. We actually are highlighting unread emails from contacts that you have. So again, leveraging our Contacts API, leveraging our address book to highlight right out in front of the inbox the things from people we know you obviously care about. And then again, very front and center in the mail experience is Yahoo Updates. It's a consumption point. So again, if you're integrated with updates and you're pushing events in, they're showing up right here in the inbox of people on your site who have that person in their address book. So if a user on your site is commenting, everyone who has that user in their address book on Yahoo is seeing those comments in their inboxes. And then finally, we're using the mail canvas as an opportunity to recommend other people you might wish to get updates from, even if you don't have them in your address book today. They might just be people you email with frequently, or people you've interacted with in other places around the network. So again, building out this social distribution channel into our product. And that's just mail. Again, the homepage, as I mentioned, an updates app is front and center in the new homepage. The new homepage, again, only been rolling out for the last few weeks broadly. Already at a majority of traffic in the US and rolling out to a majority of traffic in other markets around the world here. So you see an updates app right there. It's one of the default apps that every user gets front and center in their homepage experience. You also see we're promoting, again, the ability to set status right there. So we're also, again, pushing our own UGC into our platform to keep users in touch with things. So you can not only consume updates, you can update your status into our platform. And Messenger, again, the new client just announced, just rolled out, starting the rollout. You can get it in a beta version now on the messenger.yahoo.com site if you're a Windows user. And the previous version looked like this. It had updates lightly integrated into it. So in your traditional buddy list view, you can actually see things that your buddies are doing, little updates that they have, like, you know, this person buzzed that Barack Obama just won the Nobel Peace Prize. This is in the new version as well. But what's big and different about the new version is the opportunity to hit that Why Updates tab up there and actually toggle over to the right side of the screen here, where you actually can toggle your buddy list in chronological order of the last things that people have done across our updates network. So again, whether they're events that are happening on Yahoo or whether they're things that third parties are pushing into our system, like you see a Twitter event in there, you can see that the order with which people are updating things. So it's sort of essentially like a client to be able to stay in touch with updates built into your Messenger product that you already use. Same with Toolbar. Yahoo Toolbar also integrated with updates, so that right there in the toolbar, if that's a service you use, you get a little red indicator that lights up when you've got something new to check out. You click it, it drops open and shows you the latest update you've got. So all this stuff's live, it's out there. These are the default products that users are out there downloading across the web. And again, what's cool is that this isn't just something we're putting out there and saying, hey, developers, go play with. We're using it across everything we do at Yahoo. This is just a small list of the Yahoo products that have started generating updates themselves. So when users are doing things in Yahoo Buzz or Yahoo Games or leaving comments in Yahoo Sports, those things are generating updates into our network. Those of you who RSVP'd for this event on upcoming.com probably got the little pop-up indicator that said, hey, an action that you just did is now being sent into Yahoo Updates, which would, again, show to everyone who has you in their address book in Mail, Messenger, all that. So hopefully you get a sense of the opportunity, the changes that are happening here at Yahoo, how we are making this truly more open and more personal. And so from a social platform perspective, the two links to check out while you're here if you want to play around with them, developer.yahoo.com/updates, specific to the updates opportunity, and /social to learn about the broader set of social APIs that we have, whether it's address book, through our contacts API, the way access to users' profile information and whatnot. More sessions today about updates. We have a couple of really interesting ones. So we have one at 2 o'clock, the rise of social referrals. It's going to talk about best practices of how to generate UGC and push UGC out, not just to Yahoo, but to other UGC aggregators, whether it's Facebook, other services like that across the web. Really, really insightful kind of look at what works and what doesn't work. At 2:20, we'll actually talk about, we'll have a number of our partners here who have integrated the list that I showed you, our platform, and who you can, from whom you can learn how to take advantage of the offerings that they've built into their service from Yahoo. And then finally, later this afternoon, a deep dive into the actual APIs and SDKs. So if you're here, you want to actually learn the methods and how to actually implement the platform, that's happening at 4:10. So I think hopefully that paints a pretty big picture of the business opportunity we're putting out there now. The changes that we've been really working hard to take the platform that we actually announced last year at Hack Day in Sunnyvale last fall, and putting our own products on it over the last year, to where there's now a distribution opportunity. But I also want to say this is Hack Day. There's lots of cool technology going on. It's not just about, hey, there's great syndication happening. And other things that you should be looking out for or learning about while you're here. One is YQL. And if you haven't heard of YQL, you really ought to take some time to dig into it while you're here this weekend. It's an awesome piece of new technology on the internet, really. The phrase for YQL is select star from the internet, and that's trying to show how simple it is to use, and it really actually is that simple. You see a really simple query I have up here: select star from flickr.photos.search where text equals cat. What that does is that queries the Flickr API and pulls back photos related to cats. You don't have to know how to use the Flickr API. You don't have to know how to spend a weekend reading the docs on that API. You can use YQL, write a very standard SQL-like statement, and get back the data you want. And this is about the simplest statement that I can show an example of, because you can combine statements, you can merge them, you can query multiple data sets and get this type of easy result. And what's really cool is if you're a publisher or a marketer in the room and you have your own data sets, we have, through YQL, the ability to push your data into YQL, make it available right here for any of the developers who are using YQL to query. So for example, we have data in YQL from the New York Times. We have data in YQL from the BBC, or not the BBC, excuse me, the National Maritime Library in the UK. So if you want to know, what things Lord Admiral was doing in whenever he was doing things, you can query that stuff. You can combine it with maps from Google. You can combine it with geodata from Yahoo. You can combine it with Flickr photos. You can do whatever you want right here through YQL. So we have a couple hundred third-party data sources that have opened their data up through this to enable you to query it, and it's a completely open platform for you to push your data in, as well as for you to query data from. At 12 o'clock, Jonathan Trevor, the inventor of YQL, will be speaking about it and about some of the new developments we have there. YUI 3, another example of us building platforms that we're leveraging ourselves, not just developer tools we're building for developers to use. YUI is a JavaScript and CSS library that Yahoo originally built and has since open sourced and made available. We've just recently announced YUI 3, which we are using to power the front page of Yahoo. And it's the new open version of YUI. At 3 o'clock, you can learn more about some of the changes and some of the new features that are available to developers who are taking advantage of YUI 3. Boss, if you don't know about Boss, obviously a lot of talk about Yahoo and search going on, but we have a really powerful search API through Boss, and I encourage everyone to learn about it at 4 o'clock, to learn about some of if you want to ask questions about what's going to happen to the state of Boss, there's going to be answers there where they're known, and also learn about the technologies that are in it kind of regardless of what happens with Bing and Microsoft. So, but it's a really powerful tool. It lets you build your own search engine and re-rank data results from Yahoo right into your own website. Finally, last thing in my list of sort of things not to miss this weekend is geo. So, a lot of talk about maps, right? That's kind of the ultimate original mashup tool, the Google Maps API. And what I want you to take away from this weekend is that Yahoo's doing some interesting things in geo that are very different than maps. Geo doesn't necessarily mean put something on a map. Through our APIs like Placemaker and FireEagle and GeoPlanet, we let you actually send in a location, whatever that location may be, and get back references to what that location is. So if you send in to us, let's say Millennium Hotel, New York, we can actually return back to you different things. We know that that's in Manhattan. We know that that's in New York State. We know that that's in the United States. We know that that's in New York City. And we can let you query that at varying levels of granularity. And there's some really interesting applications that you can build based on that. Same with FireEagle. It lets users, totally different than kind of a traditional Maps API, it lets users update their location and be able to let applications query their location so that the app can always kind of know where they are if they need an app that does something like that. So at 5 o'clock this afternoon or 5 p.m., an overview of what we're doing in the geo space. And that's my talk for today. What I really want to hopefully have you take away is that Yahoo's changing a lot. It's been quite a year, and rolling out these platforms onto the new sets of products that have been rolling out over the last year at Yahoo, we think is really setting things up for some pretty big change, not just for Yahoo.com, but for everyone who wants to participate and play with us. It's no longer just about using something cool like pipes to build something neat on your own website. We provide a tool to let you actually build your website and then get users from Yahoo and build traffic through us as well. I truly believe that Yahoo is going to look different today, it's going to look different tomorrow, it's going to look different next month, and hopefully it looks different because you're all contributing content, services, getting traffic and distribution through us. So thank you very much, and certainly we have some extra time, so I'm happy to answer any questions that folks have. Yes?
What was that URI again for the free hosting?
Yeah, it's joyent.com/developers, plural, /Yahoo. Yes?
What's your long-term vision for application discoverability?
I'm sorry, long-term vision for application
discoverability. How would the end user find my application?
Oh, great. So currently, the applications, again, we have the add to Yahoo flow, so you can promote it on your own website, let users add it in. We also, because this just launched about 2 weeks ago, we're taking a little bit of a conservative approach right now. So I think we've handpicked about 13 of the apps that have been built on our platform and put it in the current gallery on the front page with all the ones that we've chosen over the last few months. Later on this year, we will open up the gallery, so any app that's been built will be able to be browsed, discovered. You'll be able to find most popular, you'll be able to find most recent, you'll be able to find things by category, you'll be able to search. So that will be coming later this year. Yep.
What is the difference between contacts and email addresses in your address book or buddies in your buddy list? I mean, I get the sense that you don't get updates from everybody in your address book. It's somehow selective. And what is that?
It's a good question. So the Contacts API gives you a merge of your buddy list and your address book. And we have some sort of legacy, sort of leftover social networking type of two-way kind of relationships at Yahoo that we've called connections.
Right.
Connections. And the Contacts API actually gives you a merge of all of those things. Today, some of our products are optimized to only show you updates from that connection list, but we will be very soon blowing out, letting you see connections in all, or updates in all products by a much broader set of people, by your full address book. So that, yeah, you've probably noticed that in the product, but that's absolutely a change that we're pushing through into our products. Yep.
Can you talk a little bit about why you might want to use YQL over some other kinds of query techniques?
Sure. Are there other query techniques that you were specifically wondering about, or did you just... Okay. So what YQL lets you to do, and I definitely encourage you to attend Jonathan's talk later this afternoon, but YQL actually... So let's say, for example, I'm going to come up with an application sort of off the top of my head. Let's say I wanted to build an app that looks at Craigslist data for apartments in a certain price range that are near a park in New York, and I want photos of the park. So if I wanted to build that app traditionally, I would spend the weekend learning how to... Querying Craigslist is easy, it's an RSS feed. Learning how to query, whether it's Google Maps or some other Maps API, and say Flickr, and probably some kind of geolocation. Again, our geo APIs would be good to say this address is near this park. So I'd learn, let's say, 4 APIs, and I'd have to spend a weekend learning how to do each of them. I'd have to download the SDKs or learn, the actual REST implementations of each of them and how the functions actually work. And then I'd have to write the PHP that actually combines the results together and generates an output. YQL, you don't have to do any of that. So in that sort of just real basic console, you can actually write include statements and actually write statements that let you select data from this source when this source has this other data returned and plot it against this data, and you can actually get back a rich data set right there. So no need for your own server, no need for for you to actually learn any of the PHP necessary to do that, and you get the data set right away. The other thing you can do with it too is you can output it in JSON or XML, depending on, from a technology perspective, which you prefer to work with. It's literally a radio choice, and the service renders it on the fly for you in whichever output you want.
So continuing on in that conversation, if you combine, or if you juxtapose BOSS, is it BOSS, with YQL?
BOSS is available in YQL for you to query, so you can use that as a service to search any of the data sets that you return. And in fact, in YQL, you can even you can store your own scripts. So if you want to actually even manipulate the presentation of the data output, you can do that as well. So yeah, absolutely, BOSS is one of the sources in YQL. Again, I encourage you to go look. There's, I want to say, over 300 sources there now, both Yahoo and third-party. You know, Facebook, Google Maps, New York Times, Amazon, a lot of the U.S. data, geological survey data. There's a bunch of stuff in there.
Can you add they mentioned the New York City apps competition, which has data sets that you get from the city. You have a list of different data sets. Can you add sets like that?
As long as it's public data, you can add any data you want. And you can host it as an open table that any developer can then take and find. So for example, I mentioned the U.S. Geological Survey data. U.S. government has data.gov, which is a super rich repository of government data. A number of developers have taken that and then inserted it into YQL so that it's available for the YQL community of developers to find and use easily without having to go do that themselves. It's totally available for anyone to do. Yep.
There's one quick follow-up to that. How will you ensure the validity of the information that's going up if anybody can throw these data sources into the repository? Is there going to be any kind of vetting process to ensure that, you know, government information is actually coming from the government?
Yeah, so the data tables are themselves open source. So if the data is incorrect, the developer community can get in there and fix it. It's all hosted through GitHub.
So for the other third, like the New York Times data set that's in YQL, is there some sort of recency to that, or are they updated? Or is it?
I don't know the specifics of that in particular data set, but it can either crawl different, have availability to get RSS articles, or it can be just persistent data that's been pushed in on a cron basis. I don't know that case in particular.
But in general, when something's up there, either it gets RSS feeds or something in there that keeps it.
It should be if the developer, and you know, again, it's open source, so it's on GitHub. If the developer community is keeping it up to date, yes. If it's not, it's not. But you know, the goal is hopefully it is. Sort of like the Wikipedia example down there. Hopefully you've got the, what was his name? Whoever the one guy was that was updating it, you know, a gazillion times, keeping it rich because he really cares. That's the whole reason why we've open sourced it, was so if somebody's slacking and isn't keeping the data up to date, someone else can step in and fix it.